Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Welcome into the Steelers Talk Live Show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. That is your producer, Jeffrey Cooperstein. Let's see if the light helps you out here, Coop. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. Coop, how we doing today? And it's a beautiful Monday, and
Yes,
maybe
indeed.
after 4 straight losses, it's not as beautiful as some of the victory Mondays we've had. But you know what? It's a new season. It's a new slate.
It is.
We're 0-0, and all that matters is going 1-0 this week against a team that we are very familiar with here in the Baltimore Ravens, the dreaded Ratbirds. And we got to make sure that Joey Peterson does not have that first playoff victory as the host of the Ravens Rundown.
That was very Tomlin of you. And I will say this. I know that we are backing at it because, number one, we are in our home studio today.
We are.
And number two, I took a look out the window as we started chanting, "Here we go, Steelers." And some people were pretty triggered about it and put their headphones on. And I won't name names, but a couple of the interns here at Chat Sports weren't happy. And when that's the case, you know we're doing something right.
You know we're doing something right here when we're making some noise here on Steelers Talk. Today we got some great Steelers content coming your way here. Over the next hour or so, we got the latest Steelers news and rumors. Tyreek Hill sounds like he wants out in Miami. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers go get him? We are going to be discussing that at the top of today's show.
Omar, hope you're watching.
Omar's burner, hope you're in the chat because we got some very juicy rumors to talk about today. Also got some really interesting Russell Wilson stats I want to share with you guys as well. We got a very big injury update for the Baltimore Ravens before Saturday's matchup, so we'll share what those things are at the top of today's show. Then our second segment, we've got our official wild card preview. Steelers versus Ravens Saturday night. It's going to be so much fun, man. Being here on that watch party, it's going to be so much fun. And, some people have asked us to put up our live schedules throughout the week here. So here is our live schedule this week. All right, so we're going to go live. Obviously today, we're live right now. You guys are watching us. All right, so this is Steelers Talk Live. Then Wednesday, we have our second live show of the week. We're going to go live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturday, we have our watch party. All right, so last week we did our special 90-minute long pregame tailgate. We're going to do the same 90 minutes for this playoff game, all right? So it's going to be, we're going to do some super chat promotions with Ravens Rundown. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is the best rivalry in all of sports.
Trader Joey's been talking a lot of shit.
And Trader Joey's been talking a lot of shit around the Chat Sports offices. That's for damn sure. Our watch party is going to start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, guys. NFL Wild Card Weekend all kicks off. Who gets the first game on Saturday afternoon?
I don't remember who the first game is.
But the Steelers and Ravens play the night game on Saturday, so it will be in Baltimore.
Chargers-Texans.
Chargers-Texans. And, apparently the weather conditions call for potentially blizzard conditions in Baltimore on Saturday night. So it could be a classic AFC North showdown. Winner moves on to the divisional round. Loser goes home. The stakes couldn't be any higher for guys like Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson, and others. Seasons on the line against your arch rival. You got to go get the dub. And we're going to be here starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for the biggest live watch party on this channel this entire season to this point. Now, before we get into the Steelers content today, I do want to give a big shout out here to our presenting sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And they have a brand new feature on their app called Game Time Picks that helps getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you guys have to do is find an event you want to go see on the Game Time app. You click into it and you select the Game Time Picks filter. It's a button right at the top of the screen. It automatically finds you the best seats with the best prices so you and your family can get the best tickets for your viewing experience to whatever event you want to go see. And what I love about using the Game Time app and why it's the only ticketing app I have on my phone is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. We got our first super chat of the day. It's a first-time super chatter. Mikey Glenn says, hello. Who would you want in the first round? Who would I want? What does that mean? Like, who would you want to play?
Who would you want to draft?
Oh, I thought you meant first round of the playoffs. My mind is so ingrained right now in the season. I haven't even thought about the draft much. I mean, obviously, the draft is coming up next spring. Now, when it comes to what I think the Steelers are going to do, I think that, because the quarterback market isn't great next offseason, Coop, I think they're going to probably run it back if they can with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I think they want to bring both of them back. I think maybe ideally on one-year contracts. And then you try to build up this offensive line and this run game to be the main engine of the offense. We've talked about on this show why the offensive line and the blocking tight ends this year are just not good enough to make that happen for the Steelers. But I think that in the future, it could potentially be something if you can get a game changer at running back. So if you have the opportunity to take Ashton Gianti or another guy that you think could
You're okay with taking him first round?
I would be okay taking him first round, because if this Steelers team really wants to be a ground and pound, bully ball type of offense, you need a game changer like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. You need a superstar caliber guy at that position. We've seen running backs break out in their first year and become legit superstars. So if that's something that you want to do, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, if Arthur Smith is still here at OC, I would certainly be looking at getting a game changer in round one if you fall in love with somebody. So if you guys want to super chat, you guys can press the money symbol down there close to the live chat, put in a dollar amount and send it our way. But also, guys, I will tell you guys that YouTube takes 30% of every single dollar you send in via Super Chat. But if you send in your donations via Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal, we greatly appreciate it because we get to keep more of those proceeds. It helps us, improve our graphics, improve our equipment, improve our office space. Right now here at Chat Sports, we've got some really massive renovations going on. It's all thanks to your guys' generosity, man. So if you guys want to tip us today for the hard work we provide for you guys, giving you guys free and informative Steelers content every single day, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Half off raffle ticket prices for today's show. All right, so if you guys want to get a raffle ticket for the Steelers jersey, we're going to be raffling off on Saturday night. You guys can usually get a raffle ticket for $20 on the watch parties, Coop. Today, for $10, you guys get a raffle ticket. And by the way, every $10 you spend, you get a raffle ticket. So if you put in $100, you get 10 raffle tickets. And I'll tell you what, guys, if you guys use Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal here, I'll double your raffle tickets, all right? So I want to give a big shout out here to our Black Diamonds. These are the people that have put in over $500 on a singular Steelers Talk live stream. If you're a part of the Black Diamond Club, you get your very own Super Chat sticker. That's what you're seeing on screen right now. All of our Black Diamonds with their stickers. We just added a bunch of new stickers, actually. So big shout out to all of those guys. This is the lifeblood of this community, man. So if you want to become a Black Diamond today, click that subscribe button, like the video, get into the chat, watch our live shows every single week because people do donate these stickers, guys. So even if you don't have $500 to spend on a singular Steelers Talk live show, if you're a real one, we might pick you the next time someone donates a sticker. And if you guys want some Steelers film analysis, I actually put out my Week 18 film analysis for Russell Wilson and his game against the Cincinnati Bengals last Saturday on my Twitter. I got all the all 22 on there, so if you guys want to check that out, you can find me at Jack_Sperry. You guys can also follow me on IG at SteelersCS. It's our Steelers Talk channel there on Instagram there, Coop. So if you guys want to, that little blast of Steelers short form content every day, you guys can find us on IG at SteelersCS. If you like getting blasted, Coop said. Okay, so if you guys want a shout out, type those me's in the chat. All right, I want to see all the Yinzers that are here because we got 232 people in the chat right now. We've got 50 people that have already liked the stream. We've got Clemson Bros. We've got Christian Andujar. Rodolfo is here. Neumage, Steelers dad, Will Chestnut is here. Lance Struthers here. What's up, Lance? We got Hot Rod 24. What's up, Hot Rod? Good to see you. We got C-Wag, Ali the Reaper here, Jordan Lugo, Rodney Green. Ali, I still have to check on your jersey to see if we got it. I'll check after the show, Ali. We got Funny Man Bjorn, Kareem Richardson's here. What's up, Kareem? Good to see you. Of course, the lovely Cassie Voth, my girlfriend's in the chat here. Jason L., George Pickensburg, a Black Diamond. Troy Philippa Buga, a Black Diamond, is in the chat here. Zach Attack. We've got Mike Hardy. Keep spamming those me's. Brock Walker's here. Got DeGoat, Perry, Mike, Brock again, Deb. Got a good crew of Steelers fans here, man. It's a big week here. Mr. Coop. It's going to be wild card weekend. You got the Ravens and Kareem Richardson coming in. Is this really a first-time super chat? Because he usually Venmos, I think. I think Kareem usually either Cash Apps or Venmos, but it's a first-time super chatter. So let's give him some Ric Flair drip. Woo! Says, I would rather get a wide receiver or go get Tyreek Hill. So we're going to talk about Tyreek Hill here in just a second, and why it's going to be a little bit tricky for the Steelers to go out and get him via trade. There's one thing in particular that's kind of preventing him from being traded before the NFL draft that I'm going to share with you guys here in just a second. We also got another super chat here from Charmander and Froki. We'll put you up on screen here in just a second. But today we got the latest news and rumors for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're previewing the wild card matchup between us and the dreaded Ratbirds. We know that team very well, but there's, and a lot of the keys to victory and all these different things are going to be very similar to previous weeks, but there's some new wrinkles in there that I think the Steelers need to bring up if they're going to win and bring home the W and move on to the divisional round on Saturday. I have faith.
I do not.
Coop does not, and Coop has been kind of, he's been selling his stock in the Steelers for a while. I understand why. I do. Like, you're losing to all these teams. You got your ass kicked by 3 straight teams before the Bengals game, and the Bengals game you fought a little bit more, but you still didn't get the job done, right? So you go into the playoffs with 4 straight losses. It's not a good feeling. But I kind of like what Russell Wilson said in his post-game press conference. At the end of the day, man, it's a brand new season. Everyone's 0-0.
True.
These last 4 games don't matter. All right, you made it to the dance. You punched your ticket. And, now you're going against a team that you have an opportunity to get a little bit of revenge against. Remember, week 16, you got your ass kicked on the road. If you can go up against a team that everybody considers a legit Super Bowl contender in the Baltimore Ravens on the road and beat them, the Steelers can beat any team in the National Football League, all right? So we're going to be breaking that down on today's show, guys. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon. David is asking, Coop, are you feeling better?
Yeah, feeling much better. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's go to the super real quick before we get into the show.
Sounds good. Charmander and Froki, I hope I'm saying that right, says need to get rid of OC and defensive coach. So I think he's talking about Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin.
Arthur Smith has to go.
And Arthur Smith, here's the thing. He's getting 2 head coaching interviews with the Jets and the Bears coming up here. And my thinking on that is you guys can have them, all right? I would love another chance to hire an offensive coordinator because I just don't know if Arthur Smith is it. In terms of Terrell Austin, I think he's going to be here as long as Tomlin is because it is Tomlin's defense. Austin's kind of just like running whatever Tomlin wants him to run. So it's not really totally on Austin. Replacing the defensive coordinator isn't going to change anything because Tomlin's still going to run what he wants to run schematically. So if you want to get rid of the defense and you want a brand new defensive scheme, you got to unload the head coach, in my opinion. Okay, so that is where I'm at. I don't think getting rid of just Terrell Austin is going to change anything defensively here in Pittsburgh. Did get our first Venmo of the day here, Coop, so I'll send that your way.
We also got a $2 super chat from Vibin' with the Dogs who says, hi, Jack and Coop. Hello, Vibin'.
Hello, Vibin' with the Dogs. It's good to see you, my man. It's very good to see you. I can't wait to... I'm sure you got some comments for me today. I'm looking forward to it, Vibin'. Kareem, or did...
No,
that one's from earlier. Okay, I think he put in another 2, though, here, didn't he?
Vibin' did.
Yeah, so let's go to Vibin's second super chat of the day here.
When they allow us to.
Our software is being a little slow here, but Vibin will put you up on screen here in just a second when once our super chats load. But we will be getting to our Steelers content today, guys. We're talking Tyreek Hill, talking a little bit about Russell Wilson. We're also talking a little bit about Arthur Smith getting those head coaching interview opportunities with the Jets and the Bears. And we're just going to be talking a lot about Steelers football. Also, a big injury update for the Ravens today that we're going to be sharing on the first segment. So Vibin' with the Dog says, Jets hire Smith. I can see him taking Fields with him. I actually don't hate that, Vibin'. Arthur has been very complimentary of Justin. And, that's a difficult situation that the Jets are in because they're kind of their top 10 pick, but they're like 8 or 9. I can't remember exactly where they're at, but they're not really in position to take Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. So they're going to have to pick up one of these veterans And, Justin Fields, out of the options that are going to be available to him, is the youngest. He's got probably the highest upside for the future, and he's played in Arthur Smith's offense. So if Arthur Smith does get the job there in New York, I kind of agree with you, Vibe, and I think Justin Fields would certainly be a very viable option. Big shout out to Kareem Richardson, put in a $5 Venmo here, and he goes Steelers. So appreciate you, Kareem. Also, one of the best Venmo or Super Chat stickers anywhere, man. You got the Kareem Skyhook.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Absolutely disgusting stuff there, Kareem. I love it. All right, I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer. Let's get into our first segment of the day, the latest news surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a bunch of great Steelers news and rumors to cover here on a Monday. First up, we're going to be talking about some huge injury news before the playoffs here for this matchup between the Steelers and Ravens. That's really going to affect this matchup in a major way. Also, Tyreek Hill says that he wants out of the Miami Dolphins organization. Should the Steelers go pursue him via trade this offseason? I'll give you guys my answer in the middle of today's show, and then make sure you guys stick around because we're going to be busting some myths that are currently being put out there on Steelers Twitter and other places on quarterback Russell Wilson and why I still think he is the right quarterback here to potentially even upset the Baltimore Ravens here on Saturday. But before we get into the content today, make sure you give me a follow on X if you haven't already. I actually put out my full all 22 film breakdowns of Russell Wilson's game versus the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 18. So if you want to see where Russ struggled, you want to see where, maybe it was the receiver's fault for not catching the football. If you want to learn a little bit more about football, you guys can find me on X at Jack_Sperry for my weekly film updates. Then also you guys can follow us on IG here at Steelers Talk, at Steelers CS for a daily blast of Steelers news content. Okay, so let's get into the injury update here, where the Steelers will play, or this is actually I'm just confirming here, that the Steelers will play the Ravens on Saturday at 8 p.m. We did not talk about it on yesterday's video, so I wanted to make sure everybody is aware. It is going to be 8 o'clock on Saturday, and it is going to be on Amazon Prime, all right? So Amazon Prime Video gets their first playoff game ever, and man, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers is one hell of a game to kick off your tenure in the NFL playoffs. But we're going to be going live as well for this game, guys. We're going to be going live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wildcard Saturday there, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button, make sure you turn on your notifications, and join us at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for 90 minutes of pregame coverage. Okay, now let's get into the injury update here, where Zay Flowers, the number one receiver there in Baltimore this season, he was a Pro Bowler. He injured his knee last week versus the Cleveland Browns. He's got a little bit of a sprain in his knee. Now, it's considered minor, but it is considered to be an uphill battle for him to play versus the Pittsburgh Steelers here during Wild Card Weekend. And, besides Rashad Bateman and outside of Zay Flowers, there are just not many wide receivers here with the Baltimore Ravens that they can really utilize, that they can really trust. They do have Zay Flowers. They do have Rashad Bateman. Those two guys are pretty darn good. But outside of that, Steven Sims Jr., Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace. I mean, Wallace can move, don't get me wrong. But, this is a group that it doesn't have great depth. And without Zay Flowers out there, their true number one guy and their best route runner, I think that the Steelers secondary has a pretty decent chance of containing that wide receiver group. And I would definitely expect the Baltimore Ravens to play a lot of heavy packages, all right? I would expect to see Patrick Ricard out there for most of this football game, their big fullback. I would expect to see at least two tight ends out there pretty much the entire game. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are both great players. I would expect both of those guys to be on the field almost at all times, and they're going to try to really run the ball down the Steelers' throat with Derrick Henry, and the Steelers better bring a good amount of size and a lot of physicality if they want to get the win on Saturday night. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What's the Steelers' chances of winning against the Ravens on Saturday if Zay Flowers can't give it a go? Put it on a scale of 0, meaning they cannot win no matter what, to 100, meaning they're definitely going to beat the Ravens. Is it somewhere in the middle? Let me know down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by putting it on a scale of 0 to 100. So now let's move over to Tyreek Hill here, man. And Reek said in his post-game kind of media scrum after their loss to the New York Jets in Week 18 to finish their season that he is likely going to demand a trade out of the Miami Dolphins organization this offseason. This is what Reek had to say after the game. "I'm opening the door. I'm out, bro. It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for my career. I'm too much of a competitor to just be out there. And, I think that this is going to become the new kind of trade wide receiver agenda for Steelers fans. Of course, it was Brandon Ayuk, then it was Devontae Adams, then it was Cooper Kupp, and now I think it's going to be Tyreek Hill to kick off the 2025 NFL offseason. And, I can see why. Reek is an awesome player, man. He's been one of the best receivers of the last decade in the National Football League. Might be the fastest player in NFL history. Now, he is getting up there in age a little bit. He's 30 years old, and he's definitely not old or anything like that, but he's definitely getting up there. He's on the other side of 30 now. He's not the biggest receiver, just 5'10", 191 pounds. Still has 2 years left on his current contract, and a lot of that is in guarantees and in restructures and, in the signing bonus. So the Dolphins are really on the hook for a lot of that money still on his contract. Got a couple void years on there as well. So the Dolphins are really locked into a lot of that money. And then, he has been one of the most productive receivers in the National Football League over the last several seasons. And he stays relatively healthy. He plays through injuries. He was very tough. You guys can see before this year, he was consistently getting over 1,000 yards receiving. And over, the 2023-2022 stretch with Tua when he was fully healthy there, he was putting up ridiculous numbers, man. He almost approached 2,000 yards in a single season back there in 2023 before he got a little bit of an injury, which halted his progress there. But he is a phenomenal talent. He's a great deep threat, all these different things. He's a great route runner, too. He's very underrated in that regard. He's probably one of the best, if not the best receiver with the ball in his hands in open space anywhere in the game today. Now, when it comes to the Dolphins, all right, in terms of what they would do to trade him, they really have no incentive to trade him before June 1st. And the reason why that is because all of his money is guaranteed if you trade him before June 1st this year. That's $28.2 million that they owe him next season if they trade him. All right, so that's against their cap, and it gives them really nothing of value to trade him pre-June 1st. So if you're going to get him before the draft or something like that, you're going to have to send them an absolute haul to make it worth the Dolphins' while to pay that pre-June 1st number. But if they trade him after June 1st, all right, they can save a little bit of that money, about $16 million of that money, I think 15.5 right there, and they only have to take on $12.7 million in dead cap if they wait past June 1st. Now, this is what I think a potential trade idea could look like. So the Steelers could potentially wait to go and get Tyreek Hill post June 1st. They can offer their first-round pick in 2026, all right, so that's 2 drafts from now because obviously past June 1st, that's past the NFL draft in 2025, so you have to give him the 2026 first-rounder, and then you can give him either Calvin Austin III or Roman Wilson, either one of them, all right? I'm not saying both. I'm saying either Calvin Austin III or Roman Wilson. Give him a receiver to replace Tyreek Hill and give him a first-rounder in 2026. I think that would be the asking price for Miami. And then, you look at the money figures here, what it would cost the Steelers. The base salaries in 2025 for Reek, it's only $10 million. It's really not that much if the Steelers end up acquiring him. Now, there's some roster bonuses in there, all these different things that it won't be $10 million. It'll be more than that, but his base salary is at that $10 million mark. And then 2026, it does go up to about $30 million, but they could potentially restructure and keep him in Pittsburgh before that final season and really lock him up for the next 2-3 seasons and make that cap hit go down further than $30 million. Now, here's the issue about the Steelers potentially trading for Tyreek Hill. All right, I just don't know if they want to put all their eggs in the basket of waiting to trade for Tyreek Hill because, if you end up doing that like you did with Brandon Ayuk last year and you don't really, address the receiver position in the draft or in free agency and you're just kind of banking on Tyreek Hill being traded to you, if you miss on that, you're out of luck, all right? You miss out on a big-time receiver and you wasted opportunities in free agency and in the draft to be able to address that position, all right? And that's what happened with Brandon Ayuk, and I would worry, especially with so many teams potentially being in on Tyreek Hill, the Steelers would once again miss out on that opportunity. Now, the way that I would want to go get Tyreek Hill is if GP doesn't want to be here anymore, all right? GP is on an expiring contract next year. Let's just face it, guys, George is probably going to want to get paid, all right? He's the type of player that might say, pay me, trade me, or I'm sitting. All right, and I really don't put it past George to do anything at this point. I could see him sitting out training camp next year. I could see him demanding a trade out of Pittsburgh. And if that's the case and Tyreek Hill is still available on the open market, that's when I would potentially go out and make a trade for Tyreek Hill. But personally, I would rather address this position as early as possible, free agency, in the draft, and I'm not putting all my eggs in the Tyreek Hill basket. But let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade? Would you trade a first-round pick in 2026 and Calvin Austin III or Roman Wilson in exchange for Tyreek Hill? Type A for accept or type D for decline. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Fume. And while I'm talking about Fume, go down there in the comments section and give me an A or a D. Now let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fume. And have you ever caught yourself reaching for a bad habit? Maybe it's that moment when you're with friends and you just want to feel like you fit in. Well, that's where Fume comes in. It's not about quitting. It's about finding a better alternative. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, has created an innovative flavored air device that's perfect for those moments when you want to break away from bad habits and still have something enjoyable to reach for. Fume is an award-winning flavored ice device that draws flavor to your mouth, not your lungs. It's a great way to satisfy your oral fixation with non-toxic flavors, free from nicotine or vapor, and it's safe to use anywhere. Fume's design is also about more than just flavor. It's an awesome fidget tool with magnets and clicks that help calm anxiety. You'll love how Fume feels. It has premium quality, sleek design, and it's perfect for taking with you on the go. Physiology shows stopping a bad habit of cold turkey is very hard on your brain. Fume works by replacing your hand-to-mouth fixation, calming nerves tension through fidgeting, and distracting you from your bad habit with delicious flavor. Fume is also backed by doctors in the U.S. and continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today. If you order the Journey Pack now using my code ChatSports, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on the screen right now. A big thanks to Fume for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So now let's bust a couple myths here, guys, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff being thrown out there on Steelers Twitter, and I understand the frustration. You know, the Steelers have lost 4 straight games. The offense has struggled ever since that huge explosion against the Cincinnati Bengals when they scored 44 points back in Week 13. Since then, they haven't nearly been as good. But I think that there's been a lot of stuff being put out there on Russell Wilson that just isn't true. The first myth here is that he was awful in Week 18 versus the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, I've seen people say that Russ was the only one to blame for that loss against the Cincinnati Bengals and that the offensive struggles were 100% on the quarterback and that he needs to be benched immediately. All right, well, I think that the drops in the second half were pretty significant, guys. You take a look at his accuracy metrics. He only had a 54.8 completion percentage, but you look at his catchable ball percentage, the passes that he was putting on target, it was 82.1%, which is pretty darn good, all right? So you have those 4 drops in the second half. You had that deep ball to George Pickens, which would have put you at the Cincinnati 25. That would have been the difference in the game. You had the drop with Pat Freiermuth on 4th and 12. You know, Russ had some really nice downfield shots that were dropped on Saturday, and without those, or if he had those and his guys actually caught the ball for him, I think that we'd be looking at Russell Wilson's game a little bit differently right now. You take a look at the stats here from Week 18, a 67.7 adjusted completion percentage, so that is accounting for drops. The adjusted yards would have been at 215 on the day. Then the adjusted yards per attempt would have been at 6.9, and he would have had 1 touchdown to 0 turnover-worthy plays. That's a pretty darn good stat line for somebody that only passed the ball 8 times in the first half, all right? So he was completely limited. It was a run-heavy approach to start the game. Only had 12 pass attempts in the first 3 quarters when this team was scoring 7 points. And then when they actually went to him in the fourth quarter, the offense completely changed, guys. They scored 10 points, and they were Pat Freiermuth drop away from attempting a 13-point fourth quarter there to get the win on 19 total pass attempts. So we had 7 more pass attempts in the fourth quarter alone than in the first 3 quarters combined. So I think if you're blaming, the first 3 quarter offensive collapse solely on Russ, I just think that, you're not really looking at the numbers there. You take a look here at some of the numbers in the fourth quarter for Russell Wilson. He was 12 of 9, which is a 63.1% completion percentage. Certainly not bad, but remember, 3 of those incompletions ended up being drops. He had 112 total yards, which was 58% of the yardage for the entire game. All right, that's over half of the yards the Steelers had the entire game on Russ's back in the fourth quarter with a 2-possession deficit, and the defense knew he had to throw the football. Also, in the fourth quarter, he had the most first downs than in any other quarter with 6. And then if you adjust for the drops here, he would have had a 78.9% completion percentage if those 3 drops end up being caught. He would have had 148 total yards in the fourth quarter. He would have had a yards per attempt of 7 with 7 first downs. All right, so the reality of the situation, whether you want to believe it or not, what the film and the stats are telling us here is that the Russ-led, shotgun-heavy, pass-heavy offense that the Steelers ran in the fourth quarter was way more successful than the run-heavy approach that they were doing in the first three quarters. All right, we've seen it in the past as well with that Week 13 performance from Russell Wilson, where he had over 410 passing yards, and then he put up 44 points in a pass-heavy offense. This is what the Steelers need to do to be successful with this team. Second myth that I'm going to bust for you guys right now. Russ only throws deep balls and checkdowns, all right? And a lot of people think, oh, he's either throwing the moon ball or he's checking it down into the flat. This is just not true by the numbers, guys. You can take a look here. Intermediate versus deep. He only has 3 more deep balls than he has intermediate passes this year. The attempt percentage is pretty much the same. The catchable ball percentage is much higher on the intermediate balls than it is for the deep balls, but that's because deep passes are lower percentage throws generally. Then the yards per attempt is still very, very good. By the way, Russell Wilson is number 1 in the league in yards per attempt on intermediate passes this year. And then the EPA per attempt is actually higher when he's throwing to the intermediate part of the field than the deep part of the field. So you take a look where he ranks in intermediate throws this year. What's the narrative on Russell Wilson? He can't throw to the intermediate part of the field. Well, he's second in completion percentage when he throws there. He's sixth in catchable ball percentage when he throws in this area. And he's first in yards per attempt. So he's super efficient and super accurate when he's throwing to the 10 to 19 air yards level of the field. And, you know, what's funny about this narrative is that even the Ravens defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, has bought into this narrative in here. And he has fallen for this narrative that many people have about Russell Wilson, that he can't layer that football into the intermediate parts of the field. And that's why the Pittsburgh Steelers need to attack the Baltimore Ravens in the intermediate this week. All right, what did Zach Orr say on Hard Knocks? All right, this is a guy that shoots 3-pointers or layups. All right, nothing in between. So Russ is just going to show him that he can shoot that mid-range too, and he can take those big chunks time and time again to Muth, to George Pickens. Arthur Smith needs to know that, and that's the area of the field that they need to attack. The third myth that I'm going to debunk for you guys right here is that Fields has been the better quarterback than Russell Wilson this year. Now, Josh Roundtree is a media member in Pittsburgh here. He's a Justin Fields supporter. He wants him, I believe he wants the Steelers to start Russell Wilson. He says Justin Fields finished with a higher completion percentage, QBR, and winning percentage than Russell Wilson in the regular season. And, you know, some people accuse me of cherry-picking stats on this show when it comes to the Russell Wilson-Justin Fields debate, but I noticed that Josh left out quite a few relevant statistics here when it comes to that comparison between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. He kind of cherry-picked the ones that definitely favor Fields. So you take a look at the stuff that Russ has been better at this year. He's got more points per game, more passing yards per game, more total yards per game. So the people that say, oh, the rushing production from Fields, Russ still has more total yards per game when you include the rushing. Yards per attempt is much higher. Passing or passer rating is higher. Big time throw percentage is higher. Turnover-worthy play percentage is higher, so he takes care of the football better. Third down conversion generally and on third and long. Better for Russell Wilson this year, and his passing EPA is better than Justin Fields this year, according to Sports Info Solutions. You look at the downfield passing stats as well. So you take away the Deacon and Duncan, all right? You take away the checkdowns. You take away the short completions. How do these guys stack up? Well, Russell Wilson clearly has the better numbers when he's throwing 10 or more air yards down the field. Justin Fields only completed 6 passes of 20 air yards or more this season. And Russell Wilson, as we've talked about, has been very efficient throwing the ball down the field. This year, the catchable ball percentage is much higher. The yards per attempt is much higher. And the EPA per attempt downfield passing is almost double what Justin Fields had in his 6 games as the starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you look at the general offensive stats. When Russell Wilson has been there and in there, and Justin Fields has been in there, the offense has still gotten almost a field goal more per game. They've gotten over 30 more yards per game total. The yards per play has been higher with Russell Wilson on there. And then also the big time throw percentage and the turnover-worthy play percentage, according to Pro Football Focus, are both significantly better, over a point difference in each of those. So Russell Wilson has been the better quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, despite the recent struggles, and he is the guy the Steelers need to go with in this playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens. He may not be the guy to bring you a Super Bowl, but I think he's the best that the Steelers got, guys. So who's the better player? Let me know down there in the comment section. Type RW for Russell Wilson. Type JF for Justin Fields. I hope both of these guys are back with the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. And by the way, Steelers need to use Justin Fields more in the short running game than they have. But Russell Wilson is the right guy in my opinion. Let me know yours down there in the comments. So now Arthur Smith is getting head coach interview request around the National Football League. He will be most likely interviewing with the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears. They have requested permission to speak with Art. from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, the way that I'm feeling about this, guys, is please take him off our hands, man. I would love for him to go somewhere else and be a head coach so that the Steelers can hire somebody that can maybe tailor his offense a little bit more to the strengths of the roster, maybe go more run and shoot, maybe go get a guy like Byron Leftwich who runs a similar type of offense that Big Ben ran here in the Super Bowl year here in Pittsburgh when Tomlin was still here. You know, there's other options out there. There's Shanahan, McVay style offenses I would prefer to Arthur Smith's kind of bland, predictable, ground and pound style of offense. It just doesn't fit the skill set of the players here with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. But unfortunately, I think he's back in 2025. The offense has been improved from last season, and because they took that positive step forward, and I don't think the team wants to, you know, go on another offensive coordinator search, I think that, you know, if Arthur Smith doesn't get a head coaching job, I do believe he'll be back in 2025, and that's really unfortunate because I think that this Steelers team could really benefit from somebody else calling the plays. Now, before I say goodbye here, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button, and I want to give another special shout out here to our friends at Fume. Thank you so much to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Scan the QR code and use code CHATSPORTS, it's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. First segment in the books, Mr. Coop. That was a beast of a cut. How long was it?
It wasn't as long as you think.
Was it under 20?
It was not under 20.
Was it 22?
It was like 21.
21? All right, so it was shorter than yesterday's video. We had 24 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, I was thinking this was going to be about a 25-minute piece, but no.
Because I saw you giving me the signal to say, let's get it rolling here.
I was like, yeah, we need to get it rolling a little bit. We got some super chats to get to. So
all right, let's get to the super chats, man. We got $5 Gary Frank says, what would you say about going after Antonio Brown? As a player or as a coach, Gary? Either one is a no for me. You know, I think Antonio, you know, all-time Steelers legend of a player, man, for sure. His connection with Big Ben was just legendary for sure. Legendary run at the receiver position. All-time great player. But yeah, Mike Tomlin has said it before. He ain't coming back.
Gary, did you see his tweets from earlier today?
We're not going to get into those. John Stevenson, $2 super chat says, what about Tyler Lockett? Form the Steelers or for the Steelers? Is he a free agent?
Actually, I have no idea.
Let me see here. Tyler Lockett, if he's a free agent, I don't think even if he is a free agent that they're going to go get him, John, because even though he has that connection with Russell Wilson, I think that they view Calvin Austin III as a Tyler Lockett-esque player. Now, I don't necessarily think he's on the level of Tyler Lockett, but you know, it'd kind of be a retread. It's another smaller, deep threat receiver that you're bringing in. He's got another year in Seattle, but I wouldn't be surprised. It sounds like Seattle might be heading towards a rebuild offensively. It sounds like they might let go of Geno Smith, who actually might be a decent quarterback candidate for the Steelers if he becomes available. But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I love Tyler Lockett as a player. He is getting older, though, so that's something to keep in mind. If you guys want to send in a donation today, you guys can send it to my Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal. Really do appreciate your support. For $10 today, you guys get into the raffle for Saturday's watch party. All right, so that's half off raffle tickets. If you come on the watch party here and you get your ticket, it's going to cost $20. Today, it only costs $10. So if you guys want to get your raffle ticket today for half the price, you guys can send in your $10 to Venmo at Jack-Sperry, money sign Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. I don't think I got any more. No, I didn't get any more Venmos. Gary, what's up, man? Says, let's see those tweets. LOL, love you guys. You're great. Gary,
you can go look at Antonio Brown yourself.
Yeah. Have fun looking at that feed, Gary. I appreciate you.
It's something else.
All right, man. Let's get into, unless we have another. Hot Rod is saying Sperry, who was worse, Van Jefferson this season or Allen Robinson last season. I think it's Van. I think it's Van. I think Van has been the better receiver. I think his production has been better this year, but
he's so bad, bro.
But Allen was so bad last year too, man. I think Allen was like a full-time starting player, and he had like 200 yards to finish the season. It was an embarrassment. Now, the thing about Allen was that he was actually a legit run blocker in the slot. Like, that's the one thing that he did that he actually did really well. Van Jefferson, I mean, he's okay, but he's not Allen Robinson in that regard.
This is a good question from June that just sent in a $2 super chat.
Oh, my goodness.
Dante Moncrief or Van Jefferson? I was a big Dante Moncrief guy coming out of college.
I have to go with Van Jefferson, unfortunately, but goodness gracious. All right, let's get June up on screen whenever our software gets going here, and then we'll get into the preview. Might be making some irresponsible takes on this preview here, Coop.
Oh, I know you are.
Oh, yeah, we got $2 super chat from June, says Dante Moncrief, Van Jefferson. I mean, I hate to go with Van Jefferson here because you guys know I don't necessarily love his skill set, especially as a starter. But I'm gonna have to go with him there.
Mike.
What's that?
Play Mike Williams.
Play Mike Williams. And by the way, Mike Tomlin said that we can quote unquote certainly expect to see more Mike Williams in the playoffs. Yeah, you've been saying that for weeks.
Literally.
All right, I'll believe it when I see it, Big Mike. All right, let's get into it right now, guys. My wild card preview for Steelers versus Ravens is coming at you guys right now. It all comes down to this, Steelers fans. Steelers versus Ravens, Saturday night, wild card weekend. Winner moves on, loser goes home in the best rivalry in all of football. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and on this week's preview, I got keys to victory. I've got team trends. I'll let you guys know what the Ravens want to do. I'm going to let you know how the Steelers can beat them on Saturday night, and then I'm going to be sharing my official score prediction for this wild card matchup between the black and gold and those dreaded Ratbirds. We will be going live for this football game on Saturday, guys, starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be going live for 90 minutes of pregame coverage. We're also going to be breaking down the end of the Chargers-Texans game, the kickoff game for the wild card round on Saturday afternoon during that pregame show. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button to never miss any of our watch parties. Hopefully we have multiple postseason watch parties this year. But also, guys, click that subscribe button to help us beat the Ravens rundown, our arch rivals here at Steelers Talk, in the new subscriber battle. This week, the Ravens rundown and Trader Joey have gotten 76 new subscribers. We've only added 73. We're 3 subs away. So if you're watching this channel for the first time, if you've watched our channel for a little bit and you haven't clicked that subscribe button, help us beat the Ravens right now. We are counting on you guys. And Trader Joey has a message for Steelers Nation.
34-17. Does that score ring a bell, Steelers fans? Well, you're going to be seeing that same exact scoreboard in just a couple of days because my Baltimore Ravens are going to destroy you on Saturday night. Prime time, second game of the playoff season. Everybody's going to be watching Russell Wilson throw another pick six to Marlon Humphrey. I hate y'all.
You heard him. He hates you. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now and show the Ravens flock whose boss. Steelers Nation runs this division. We all know that. We can't lose to the Ravens on the field. We can't lose to them off the field either. Click that subscribe button to help us out. So before we get into this matchup here, let's kind of take a look back here. Week 16, or week, I believe it was 11 here, between the Steelers and Ravens. Steelers won, and they held this Ravens offense to 16 points. It was 18-16 final. The offense obviously didn't have a phenomenal day that day, but they made enough plays to make it happen. They turned the Ravens over 3 times in that football game, and they got the job done, all right? So if you're going to tell me right now the Steelers have no shot at beating the Ravens when they're fully healthy, I mean, just look at what happened earlier this year when the Steelers were fully healthy. They held this team to 16 points, and they ended up winning the football game. But when they didn't have George Pickens, when they didn't have multiple defensive starters, and when Russell Wilson threw a crucial pick 6 in the fourth quarter, you end up losing that game 34-17. And it looks, honestly, that game and the final score looked a lot worse than it was. The Steelers were very much in that football game in the fourth quarter on the road in the stadium that they're going to be playing on Saturday night. And that's where we leave it right here. For, the division, the Ravens got the AFC North crown. Great. I would rather have the playoff victory here. All right? This winner goes to the divisional round, and their hopes for a Lombardi trophy are still alive. The loser goes home. So this is for all the marbles here. All right? The Steelers may have choked the AFC North Division Championship. If they beat the Ravens on the road in the postseason, none of that matters, and you move on to the divisional round. Also, it also sounds like it's going to be a snow game in Baltimore. There's a pretty darn good chance that there's going to be snow on the ground on Saturday night, so it's going to be a classic AFC North environment for this classic rivalry on Wild Card Weekend. And, you look out of the last 10 games. It's not out of the last 9. It's out of the last 10 games. The Steelers have won 8 out of the last 10 versus the Baltimore Ravens, even despite the loss earlier this season, all right? And that is mostly because Lamar Jackson stinks against the Pittsburgh Steelers, all right? And what are the 2 areas that Lamar Jackson shrinks the most? Number 1, playoff football. Number 2, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Guess what? Both of those things apply for this football game. You take a look at Lamar Jackson's career playoff statistics, less than a 60% completion percentage. His yards per game is way below his career average. His touchdowns per game, just one, and he also averages an interception per game as well. And then you take a look at his stats versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once again, less than 60% completion percentage. Once again, less than 220 total yards, 23 sacks over 6 games played that he played the entire game for, and he only has 8 total touchdowns to 9 interceptions. All right, so Lamar Jackson is not somebody that plays well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But now shifting to the injury front here. And, both these teams are relatively healthy, but they have a couple people banged up. Dante Jackson is questionable with a back injury to start the week. We'll keep you guys updated on his status as the week goes on. Mike Tomlin sounded optimistic that he might play, but honestly, I would think about putting Corey Trice Jr. and his size and his ability to tackle on the field over Dante Jackson. But then Mason McCormick, he broke his hand. He's getting his hand casted, and he's expected to play in this football game. So you can say whatever you want about Mason McCormick. It hasn't been a stellar rookie season for him, but he's a tough son of a bitch, man. You can't take that away from him. But when it comes to Zay Flowers, the wide receiver, their number one receiver, their Pro Bowl wide receiver, the only receiver in Ravens history to make a Pro Bowl, by the way, is questionable to play with a knee injury. And early in the week here, it's certainly looking like he's not going to play on Saturday night in the wild card matchup. All right, so that is huge, and that is really significant for this matchup, and we're going to talk about why later in today's show. But the teams that the Baltimore Ravens beat this year, lots of good teams. All right, they killed the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, a winning football team, twice. All right, they beat the Washington Commanders, a 12-5 football team. The Buccaneers made the playoffs and won a division. They're 10-7. They beat the Broncos, another playoff team there. The Chargers, another playoff team. They beat us, another playoff team. The Houston Texans, another playoff team. They have won 9 games versus teams with a winning record this year, which is why many people consider this team to be one of, if not the best team in the National Football League right now, because anybody can beat bad teams. The Baltimore Ravens, they tend to beat good to even great football teams. But the teams that they lost to, there's a couple of losses in there that really stick out. The Las Vegas Raiders, a 4-13 ball club, and the Cleveland Browns, a 3-14 ball club. And then the other ones, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Philly, playoff teams. But these two right here are definitely sore spots for the Baltimore Ravens this season. But they really cleaned up those tough losses in the latter half of their season. So you take a look at what you can expect from the Baltimore Ravens schematically. This is obviously the third time we're covering the Ravens on a preview this year, so you guys might already know this. But Todd Monken is their offensive play caller. He's done an awesome job there. He runs a modern pro spread offense, lots of shotgun, and lots of spread formations, but he also implements a lot of under center I formations, heavy formations that I expect to see a lot of in this football game as well, utilizing the size and the speed of Derrick Henry. Then Zach Orr runs kind of the Mike McDonald style, aggressive 3-4 type of defense that we've seen around the league this year, really take it by storm, and he's really done a great job in this second half. This defense is playing lights out to finish out the season. So let's talk about the offensive side of the ball here. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are the big playmakers here. Right? Lamar Jackson might be on his way to yet another MVP trophy, and honestly, Derrick Henry might win Offensive Player of the Year this year as well. I think that's going to go to Saquon, but Derrick certainly has a great season as well. Zay Flowers, if he plays, will be significant. Rashad Bateman's had a really good second half of the season this year. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely might be the best tight end duo in the National Football League. And because of all the talent that they have, guys, this is probably the best offense in football that we're dealing with here in the Baltimore Ravens. They're third in points scored, first in yards per play efficiency, first in red zone touchdown percentage, top 3 and third. I mean, they're first or third in all of these categories, all right? You don't see teams in the top 3 in all these categories ever. That's how good this Ravens offense is this year, and this is a Steelers defense that played better last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're still very good on third down. They still turn the ball over on you. They're still top 10 in scoring defense, but you can move the ball against them a little bit, and they do give up some touchdowns in the red zone from time to time. So the points per game trends here, the Ravens are scoring 30.5 points per game, and the Steelers are giving up 20.4. So you cross-reference those, and that would predict 26 points for the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday afternoon. Then we shift to the defensive side of the ball here. Kyle Hamilton is their really stud player. They've kind of moved him to more of a traditional strong safety role, and he's been awesome in that role in the second half of the season. Marlon Humphrey is the guy that got the pick 6 on Russell Wilson back in Week 16. Matt Abuike in the middle is a really good edge rusher. Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy have done a really good job on the edges here in the second half of the year. Nate Wiggins got his first pick 6 of his career. The rookie out of Clemson has had a phenomenal rookie season. So you take a look here at the numbers between the Steelers offense with Russell Wilson and the Ravens defense here, and they've really come on here in the second half of the season. First half, they were one of the worst defenses in football. So the fact that they're top 10 in scoring defense, top 6 in yards per play allowed for the entire season is really a testament to how good this Ravens defense has been over the last 6 or 7, 8 weeks or so. Then you get to the points per game trends here for the Steelers and Ravens. On this side of the ball, Steelers are scoring 23.2 points per game with Russell Wilson in there this year, and the Ravens are giving up 21.2 points per game. So that would predict 23 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. And if you've been keeping up, that would mean a 26-23 Ravens win. But this is slightly within the margin of error. All right, so the margin of error here when it comes to these kinds of things is 3 points. All right, so this is certainly a matchup that you can expect to probably go right down to the wire on Saturday night. So still to come here on the Steelers Talk preview here. Might be the last one of the year. Hopefully it's not, but it might be the last preview here for a while. Keys to victory versus the Ravens. Wild card score prediction is what's coming up later in today's show, so make sure you guys stick around. But before we get into the rest of today's content, I have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And Game Time is the best place for you to get tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And Game Time is a brand new feature on their app called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is select the Game Time Picks button at the top of the screen when you click into an event you want to go see, and Game Time automatically filters through their entire database of tickets for that event to find you the best prices on the best seats with the best views so you and your family can get the best possible deals for the tickets that you get. So what I love about using the Game Time app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. All-in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, so my keys to victory here. I got 5 of them here for Wild Card Weekend. First one is to execute the Lamar Jackson plan. And Mike Tomlin has defended Lamar Jackson in a similar way every single time he has played this Ravens offense throughout his career. And he's done a phenomenal job. We showed Lamar's numbers against Pittsburgh earlier in the show, and they're not very good. All right, and the reason why that is because this is what the Steelers do. They live in single high coverage, so they always have that extra guy in the box. All right, they use charge and scrape techniques to deal with Lamar Jackson's rushing threat ability and the read option. Then they put more bodies in there, and they also send blitzes. They send at least 5 men blitz packages against this Ravens offense more than any other team does when they play them. Also, double A-mug looks on third down, give one-on-one opportunities to TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith on the edges. And then also, if you maintain lane discipline, you can get to Lamar Jackson with those 5-man rushes. And if you hold up in one-on-one coverage, he's not going to have options deep. All right, so I break it all down in a video we put out a couple weeks ago. I told you Tomlin's secret strategy to lock down guys like Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, like they did earlier this year. You guys can check out that video. I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. Second key to victory: to beat the Ravens and move on to the divisional round. Don't let King Henry beat you. All right, because I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to play a stellar football. I mean, he honestly didn't play like a super stellar game back in week 16, in my opinion. Derrick Henry is the guy that can beat you, and the way that he does that is he just pounds you and pounds you and pounds you, pause, until you completely suffocate in the fourth quarter. And you just can't allow that to happen if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be much easier said than done because this is a Ravens team that blocks their ass off. And then you got Derrick Henry, who's not only huge, but he's also really fast, and he's got great vision. He's got the best stiff arm in the game. He's one of the hardest people to bring down, and he almost never fumbles. Nick Herbig was really lucky to get a fumble on him early back in the first matchup that these guys had. And honestly, I'm not sure if you're going to get another one this season. Now, if Zay Flowers is out, and it's looking towards him not playing on Saturday, I would expect a lot of heavy formations. I would expect Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, their 2 tight ends, to be on the field pretty much at all times. I would expect Rashad Bateman to be really the only outside receiver that gets any sort of love. And I would expect them to put Patrick Ricard, their really good fullback, in there for most of this game as well. They're going to try to pound the rock. They're going to try to run the football. They're going to try to get outside, and they're going to want to try to get Lamar and Derrick Henry going in open space with bigger bodies on the field. And because of that, I would like to see Corey Trice Jr. and not Dante Jackson at CB2 because Corey's got those long arms and he's the better tackler. Then we get to the offensive key to victory for me, and I put out a video on this earlier this week, guys. You got to let Russ cook. You got to put him in shotgun. You got to spread things out, and you got to let him be a distributor. Because let me tell you something, guys. If this Arthur Smith-led offense goes out there and they do the same old plan where they try to establish the run and they try to just hit their head against the brick wall time and time again, it's not going to work against this team. All right, they currently lead the league in yards per carry allowed at just 3.6 this year. I think the second best team is 3.9. So this team is the best run defense in the National Football League. Michael Pierce is a stud as a nose tackle. You're not going to be able to move him. So you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to do the game plan that you did against the Cincinnati Bengals when you scored 44 points. Passing the football 38 times with Russell Wilson. So this is how you let Russ cook. This is the formula right here, guys. You go pass heavy from the jump, right? You don't do the predictable run on first and second downs shit that you've been doing all season. Run or pass the ball on early downs, all right? Give Russ options in those early down situations and avoid third down entirely. Spread things out, all right? Give people space to work and get people out in open space. Also, put multiple receivers on the field. I don't want to see a 13 personnel package in this game the entire game. All right, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Michael Pruitt in there. I don't want to see Connor Hayward in there. I want to see Darnell Washington used sparingly. I want to get receivers out there, and I want to get speed on the field against this Ravens defense. Then I want Russ to get short and deep options so that he can decipher whether to bomb it down the field if they play up or to throw it underneath if they sag. Okay, do that. And then also lean into the running back screen game. Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris are really good in open space in their respective roles. They did a great job in Cincinnati back in week 13. If you lean into the running back screen game to replace the run game, I think that would be very beneficial for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I break down all of these major things in a video we put out earlier this week, breaking down how to let Russ cook and bring back the offensive production here in Pittsburgh for the postseason in a video we did earlier this week. I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show as well. Fourth key to victory to beat the Ravens this week, win the turnover battle. All right, plain and simply, this Ravens team, is a very good football team, both sides of the football. They've been the most dominant team in the league, probably in the second half of the year, and there's a lot of people expecting them to really compete for a Super Bowl, and that's for a reason. All right, so if you're going to win this game, the Steelers defense, which is first in turnovers, needs to show up. They did it in Week 11 when they forced 3 turnovers and only had 1 turnover of their own. In that football game that they won 18-16, and then the game they lost the turnover battle 2-1, and of course that final one, the pick 6 to Marlon Humphrey, was an absolute backbreaker. So Russell Wilson needs to do a good job, just like he did last week against the Bengals, of protecting the football. He had 0 turnover-worthy plays in that football game. He needs to do that again. And, you can't have any stupid fumbles. You got to take care of the ball, and you got to get on a damn fumble if these guys put it on the ground. Then the final key to victory here. It's going to be to make the play in the fourth quarter. And, this rivalry is always close, and it's always low scoring. And it always comes down to the team that wins, and the team is usually the Steelers, making a play in the fourth quarter, whether that's a last-second touchdown drive, whether that's a game-winning field goal, whether that's a big strip sack, all right, whether that's a fumble of some sort. Special teams play. You never know what the play is going to be in the fourth quarter, but the Steelers want to win this game, and it's going to be a close one, guys. You got to make the play, and you know what? People are going to call me crazy, and I can understand why, but I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers pull this thing out. I'm going to go 20-16. Steelers win. I think that Zay Flowers being out in this game will be significant. I think that the weather will benefit the Steelers in this football game. And, I think that a lot of people, the thing that I've learned about the Pittsburgh Steelers, when everybody counts this team out, that's usually when they play their best football. Baltimore Ravens are smelling their own farts right now. 4 straight wins with at least 17-point deficit. They're feeling good about themselves. They think they're going to kill us. I think not. All right. I'm going to go 20-16 Steelers win. If you think I'm crazy, let me know down there in the comments section. I might be, man. Maybe I'm drinking the opium. Maybe I'm just, I cover this team every day and I'm just super biased. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I got 20-16 Steelers win on Saturday night. Let me know your score prediction down there in the comments section. Appreciate all of your guys' support, man. I really hope this isn't the last preview we have this year, but the Ravens are a really good football team. I am picking the Steelers to win this week, but I have no qualms about the Ravens' ability to potentially win this football game either. It's going to be a real fun one, man. We're going to be going live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, at an hour-and-a-half pregame show followed by live play-by-play and extensive postgame coverage. Hopefully the Steelers can pull off the upset and we can keep this train going here in the 2024 NFL season. And I'll see you guys on Saturday. Click that subscribe button to never miss a thing. All right.
The hopium is fully been drinking by you.
I mean, it might be. It might be. I mean, I think most people agree in the chat. I mean, look how even this live poll is. 527 people have voted. 22% think there's a 76 to 100% chance that the Steelers win. 27% say 51 to 75. All right, so that's what? It's 50% pretty much exactly that think that the Steelers will win or have a better chance of winning than losing, and then it's also 50% think the Steelers are going to lose. Now, here's the thing. If your own fan base is 50-50 split on it, you're not the favorites heading into the game. But the things that I talked about, Lamar Jackson stinks in the playoffs, and he stinks against the Steelers.
He does.
The weather will not be very good for Lamar, in my opinion. I think that he's going to throw there's going to be a big interception or fumble in the fourth quarter that goes the Steelers' way. And then I think Russell Wilson, being a playoff experienced quarterback, one of the most clutch quarterbacks in league history, is going to drive him down the field either for a field goal or a touchdown to win it. And then I think the defense gets a stop. And I think that they come out 20-16. Low-scoring game like it usually is, but the Steelers usually find a way. I mean, this team was beating the Ravens and Lamar when they had Kenny Pickett in there.
I won't tell you what my score prediction is. I'll wait until Saturday.
You're going to pick like 30-13, aren't you?
I'll wait until Saturday to give my official score prediction.
Spoiler alert, he has the Steelers in the low teens and the Ravens in the 30s.
Not wrong.
All right, so we got Venmo here to keep things going.
Not wrong.
So we'll get to this Venmo here in just a second. But I will say, the category with the most votes in the live poll right now, most votes say 0 to 25% chance the Steelers win. So when your own fan base is saying 0 to 25% chance you're going to win, you're not the favorites heading in. That's for damn sure. But, I think if you know anything about this rivalry that you've watched, I mean, this team was winning games with Kenny Pickett in there, and it was low scoring. I don't think that the weather is going to be conducive to the Ravens scoring 30-plus points. I think it's going to be conducive of AFC North, ground and pound, physical football. And I think the Steelers, are pissed off and they're going to be ready to come to play. Nobody believes in them, man. Here's what I'll say. Last season, this team lost in consecutive order. Arizona Cardinals at home. I believe it was the Patriots next,
Colts.
And then the Colts. 3 straight losses against terrible football teams. And, people had a great reason to say the season was over because you needed to win the final 3 games with Mason Rudolph, your third-string quarterback, and nobody thought there was a chance in hell that they were going to do it. What'd they do? When nobody believed in them, that's when they showed up. Mason Rudolph became a Steelers legend, and they made the playoffs. Now, of course, they got, the defense gave up 31 or whatever it was against the Bills in the playoffs, and they ended up losing. But, I don't think anyone denies that was a fantastic turnaround by Mike Tomlin and this Steelers team last season. And, if you're telling me that they can't turn things around here against a team that they've traditionally had success against, I just don't know what to tell you, man. I guess we're going to have to see on Saturday.
We'll find out on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely, man. I might be crazy. I might just be, a little fanboy that doesn't want to give up on my Steelers or, whatever you want to say. It might be warranted. We'll see on Saturday if I'm crazy or if I'm prophetic. But, it's what I believe. I think the Steelers will win 2016. That is my score prediction.
Shout out Steelers Dad with the 10.
And Steelers Dad comes in with a 10. I'm sorry, Steelers Dad. I didn't see your Venmo come in. And he says, "You are crazy, Jack, but I think the Steelers could definitely win." If you're telling me the Steelers can't win, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's perfectly fine to say the Steelers aren't favored to win. I think it's perfectly fine to say that. All right? To say the Steelers have a 0% or like a less than 5% chance, I think is not giving credit to this team and what they've done against the Ravens in the past. Especially when they've been fully healthy.
Scale of 0 to 100, I'd give them...
You said 3 earlier.
Yeah, I'm going to change that. I'd say like an 8% chance.
Okay, man.
So there's a lot of shit stacked against them right now. What's up, Alps?
How we doing?
You tell me, we're about to sign off. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, we're all good.
Paw Bandit said Mason Rudolph went 4-0. No, he didn't go 4-0. He went 3-0. He beat the he beat the Bengals, he beat the Seahawks, and then he beat the Ravens backups. And then he lost in the playoffs. So he played 4 games, but he went 3-1.
You ready to sign off?
I'm ready, man.
All right.
We're going to go. We're going to see you guys on Wednesday. Appreciate your guys' support.
Remember, Wednesday live.
Wednesday live, not Thursday. We'll be live on Wednesday this week. There's actually supposed to be a big snowstorm on Thursday here in Dallas, Texas. So hopefully everything's good. Uh-oh. $5 super chat to keep it going. Gary Frank doesn't want this thing to end. Neither do I, man. I don't want this season to come to an end. You know, and here's the thing, man. If the Steelers lose this week, ooh, got a Cashapp here.
You may not want it to end.
But it might. It's certainly possible.
I just don't see a way this team beats the Baltimore Ravens on the road.
Well, you say there's an 8% shot.
I just don't see it.
But if you can't, well, you obviously can see something if you're giving them an 8% chance.
Look, if Lamar Jackson shits himself, maybe.
And he has. He nearly shit himself the last time we played him with the Minka interception.
If the game gets canceled because of the snowstorm, that's the best chance the Steelers have.
Jesus Christ. $5 super chat from Gary Frank. Just sent you a cash app, by the way, Coop.
Yep.
Says, come on, poop. I mean, Coop. Steelers for the win. Give your score. Give your score. Give your score. All right.
I think it's 30-13 Ravens win.
Boo!
I'm sorry.
Everybody boo in the chat. Boo!
I don't know what to tell you.
30-13.
30-13.
By the way, that would mean that the Steelers would lose by I think the exact same amount that they did in Week 16.
Yeah, they lost 34-17.
Yep. And so with George Pickens back, with Joey Porter Jr. back, with hopefully Corey Trice Jr. on the other side of him, much improved defense. Oh, no. They're going to lose by the same amount. That's your take.
Yep.
I just can't disagree more.
That's why they play the game?
Like, I think the Steelers could lose relatively close. Like, I think that the most that they would lose by is 10.
The most they would lose by is 10.
The weather is not going to be conducive for a high-scoring game. Why do you think that they're going to get to 30? It's going to be blizzarding outside. What makes you think that they're going to score that much?
We might have to make a bet. And I want the Steelers to win.
We might have to make a bet.
Shout out Jennifer Jones with the $25.
Hey! Jennifer Jones, 25. You know what? I'm going to do 25 jumping jacks for that.
What did Jennifer say?
She didn't say anything.
Okay.
Or at least I don't see a caption on here. But Jennifer, we appreciate you. That's 2 raffle tickets for the raffle on Saturday. Make sure you're there for the watch party. And without further ado, I'm going to do 25 jumping jacks to finish out today's show.
S-T-E-E-L-E-R-S. Steelers. Yeah!
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There we go. I did 20. Did an extra one for you, Jennifer.
Pawpaw Bandit says, Coop, what if Field starts? Same score? If Field starts 30-0. Fields is not better than Russell Wilson.
I mean, do we want to show the numbers?
Pawpaw? Ugh.
Do you just want to show like the general?
No, I'm going to show it.
Just the general numbers, though.
Fields is not better than Russell Wilson.
You want to see all the stat categories as well after this one. So this is what the offensive production looks like between the two QBs. You have a field goal more per game with Russ, and this is despite recent struggles, by the way. Steelers are still scoring more with Russell Wilson in there. The yards per game is over 30 more yards per game, and by the way, that's rushing and passing. The yards per play are higher. The big-time throw percentage, so the downfield passing, all that stuff, the big-time throws, the big boy throws, the splash plays are higher, and then the turnover-worthy plays are lower for Russell Wilson. Like Justin Fields, I mean, people talk about how he only had one interception, but he led the league in fumbles when he was benched. And then these are all the stats that Russ is superior in. I mean, points per game, passing yards per game, total yards per game, yards per attempt, passer rating, big-time throw percentage, turnover-worthy play percentage, third down conversion rate, third and long conversion rate, and passing EPA according to Sports Info Solutions.
Let's just stop this charade.
So I just don't. I mean, if you think Fields is better, that's your opinion, and I respect you, and I appreciate your perspective. I just disagree based on the film that I've watched all year and the stats that are out there. Gary, what's up, man? Coop, bet on the game. Steelers win, and I get a jersey. LOL. What you want if they lose?
Gary, I'm not a betting man, so I'm gonna.
Oh, it sounds like Coop's scared. Sounds like Coop's scared.
You already lost the bet to me.
Oh, Coop's scared.
You already lost the bet to me.
Buy Gary a jersey if the Steelers win.
Chat Sports.
If you're so sure the Ravens are going to win, buy Gary a jersey if the Steelers win.
Chat Sports can buy him a jersey. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Coop doesn't want to buy the jersey. Yeah, because you're not sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Then bet him.
No, I'm not.
What do you want? What do you want from Gary then?
$1 million.
$1 billion. Goodness gracious, Coop. All right, that's going to be it, guys. I appreciate all the people in the chat. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't be late like we were today. We were a little bit late today. But
Sorry, Brian.
But I thank you guys. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. And until then, here we go, Steelers.